Hi Greg, how you keeping, mate?
Very well, sir. A bit tired. Been a hard week, but yeah, we're doing okay.
Good, good, glad to hear. So you guys are all set to launch Atlantis. I've been lucky enough to hear it. Frankly, it's an amazing album, man. You must be really proud of this one.
Yeah, it's going down very, very well with the chosen few that have heard it already. We kind of knew that we was doing something a bit different,
Mm.
but even up until about halfway along, you're never quite sure how well it's going to go and how it's going to turn out. But we kind of had a hunch that it could be something really, really special. And luckily, the way things mapped out, it turned out even more special. So yeah, we're well chuffed with it. Good review so far. We're really chuffed.
Oh, mate, the reviews are thoroughly deserved. Obviously, there's been some changes in the Cats in Space ranks the last couple of years. Has that changed the songwriting process at all,
Yeah, well, obviously, Mick, who I normally write most of the songs with, I
or?
mean, historically, I've written kind of some of the songs on my own on the album, and
Yeah,
Mick write kind of half, two-thirds, or whatever. Narnia, we co-wrote completely because it was bit of a concept thing.
yeah.
So this is more akin to doing something like Scarecrow, whereby I was kind of producing it and kind of doing the bulk of it myself. But obviously, Mick wasn't around at all this time due to he was touring and then the COVID thing, and it just the timing all went a bit weird.
Mm.
And I've got a cat about to be in the way here. Hold on.
So mine would have done the same. Mine's just gone outside.
He's got a thing about headphone cables for some reason. Anyway, yeah. So Mick kind of wasn't around and left me to it, kind of thing, which was a good thing in a way because I think we needed to make Cats go more in this direction because we've done quite a lot of crazy wacky stuff on the first three albums, and we just wanted to do a rock album a bit more akin to the live show,
Yeah.
and it worked out really good. So yeah, it was cool.
No, it does definitely seems to be more of a. The other stuff's had I don't know if prog's the right term, but it had a more thing that kind of feel to it. This seems to be, like you say, more of a more along the lines of Sweet and Sweet and T Rex and Bowie. I heard a lot of in there as well, and
Yeah, we get a bit of that. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we were always, when we started, it was, the influences are still the same as they were then. Queen and ELO and Supertramp and 10cc and the Sweet and all that kind of stuff. But I think just the way that the songs and the vibe of the album was going this time, and obviously with me doing the bulk of it, and Stevie Bacon wrote some lyrics, and in fact Damien came in and wrote some lyrics last night.
Oh, cool.
But the kind of the template for the album, if you like, which is something that I tend to set out way in advance, and I like map out what I want the story to be and how I want it to kind of meter through the course of 10 or 11 or 12 songs. And this time it just became apparent that everything needed to have a slightly different rock edge to it. And because you can't suddenly just put the brakes on and suddenly do 4 songs that are nothing like what you've done before. Although there's a lot of changes within the songs that you do, a bit like how Queen used to do it. They weren't frightened
the different
deviate a lot on their albums. It still had a cohesiveness to what they did. So yeah, the rock stuff just kept coming. And I think the band enjoyed it when they heard the demos that I first did. They were like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. What's he up to here? But when it starts falling into place, you start thinking, oh, this could be good. And also, we as a band, especially Dean, myself, and Stevie, we really like Cheap Trick.
Oh, right,
Yeah, Cheap Trick pulled from the Beatles and,
yeah,
all those kind of great bands. And there's a lot of that, in what we do as well. So Cheap Trick are a really good kind of a level for the power pop stuff that we do, and I mean I love their stuff. I mean Robin Zander's an amazing
hell of a songwriter,
it's brilliant. So yeah, so we kind of ended up with an album that rocks a lot more than the others, dare I say.
So the production on there, like I say, the whole album sounds fantastic, and the production I think seems to have, like I say, captured that more rockier side to you guys.
Yeah,
you were involved in the production as well, weren't you, mate?
Yeah. I mean, the general thing is obviously, me and Mick, when we write the songs, we write fully fledged demos, and they're to a very high standard. And then we take them into the big studio, put the drums on. Ian Capel comes in and engineers and oversees it. And then we just get studio madness for about 2 months where we just go, let's try this, let's try that. And we start just going back to how it was in the 70s when people experimented. And that's how we've always worked. At this time, I just basically I was doing it on my own with Ian.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, right, the brief is simple. We've just got to make this the biggest, most nuttiest, over-the-top album that we've ever done, because we've got to try and keep moving the bar. You know, we can't just do another album like that and another album like that. So and it was quite daunting to try and get the production values to where I could hear in my head. But we worked bloody hard, but we did do it. And we basically said, right, we want to make this song achieve that.
Okay.
No compromise. We're not going to just say, oh, well, it's turned out like that.
Yeah.
Nothing turned out like anything unless it was exactly how he wanted it.
Exactly how you wanted it.
We kept squeezing it and squeezing it and squeezing it until we did. But ironically, with that approach, we found it was actually quite easy. You know, I let Jeff play the bass a lot more open than he probably would have done otherwise, because he's done some amazing stuff. You know, he's
a hell of a bass player.
Oh yeah, but he's a live player. And I wanted to try and capture the lightning in a bottle with him, like the John Entwistle stuff that he does and the Chris Squire stuff. And we just made a policy that if you've got a moment to shine very bright and just do whatever you want to do and make it really nutty. You know, every drum fill was really over the top, every bass line was over the top. You know, we just made sure if it works, really make it count, rather than just playing through the song and keeping it safe and making it all sound nice and tidy. We said, make a stand for yourself and make yourself known in this song, which every player did on every.
That's one of the things I liked on the album, was that each element of the band at some point on some songs, a few songs across the album, shined, whether it be the bass, the drums, the guitars, the keys, the vocals. They shined without, and they all shined equally through the song without trying to battle against each other.
Exactly.
Sometimes you get songs where it just sounds like people are just trying to solo over the top of each other, and they're great. Would be a great solo or whatever, but it doesn't work as a song. Whereas these will work as songs and everyone was shining on it.
You always have to have a purpose, and at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do, but you have to do it for the song. And if it goes to the point where it's not for the song, it's off.
Yeah.
And we have to regroup and rethink about it. But we just kind of had a policy where it was like, a particular part of one of the songs would say, we could imagine it being Cozy Power doing something of a Rainbow Rising or something like that. And I said, well, the song doesn't really sound like Rainbow or Rainbow Rising, but the essence of where that drum fill is going to take it is very much what Cozy Power would have done. And Steve is a huge Cozy Power fan. I said, do it. And I said, don't be frightened to keep rattling around that kit. You know, we're not in the 80s where it's all snare drum, kick drum and nothing else. You know, we went back to how, remember when you first heard, I don't know, Stargazer and that drum fill, you think, no one does that hardly at all anymore, so we said, let's do it,
I think that's why the album stands out, because
purpose,
there's a big wave at the minute of like these new wave of the new wave classic rock bands on the younger side of things. No one's doing the albums with that sort of feel and production anymore, which is fine. People are going to do what they want to do and play what they want to play, but for you guys, I think it really works on this album to let those influences really, really shine through.
Yeah, well, all those bands that don't want to do it, I say great, because it leaves us the only band that's doing it, and we stand out even further, even more than our stupid name. It's I think, especially the younger bands, and obviously we kind of know a lot of them and we see a lot of them work, and not dissing them because they're all trying their hardest, they're doing a good job, but they do it all on Pro Tools, they all do it in like the little bedrooms and stuff, and they don't know what it's like to be in a big studio with an engineer with 40 years experience that makes you sound like a proper band. And there's certain things that the old school do that you can't do on plugins and Pro Tools, and you can buy all the wizard effects in the world, you can have every modeling amp in the world, you can have every Kemper, every plugin, but it doesn't make it mean that you're going to get something that sounds how it used to. You can't recreate the old school unless you are old school, and it's a different approach to doing stuff. And I think also people have too much they concern themselves too much with we've got to sound like that because that's what so and so's doing,
Yeah.
and that band's getting on that radio station because of it. So we want our guitars to sound like that. We're using the same modelling amps. We want the drums to sound like that. We want the kick drum to make sure it's doing that, and the vocals are all doing that, and they're all chasing each other's tails. And to me, it's a little bit like it became in the 80s when the AOR stuff just all went down to Bon Jovi and Poison and whatever. And if you didn't have that sound and look and vibe, you weren't going to get anywhere on MTV. And it seems to be, to me, doing it a similar way now, where bands aren't standing out like they did in the 70s. I mean, UFO, Queen, Kiss, Thin Lizzy, Rush, Uriah Heep. The list is endless. All those bands had their own sound.
Oh, yeah.
And there's not many bands out there nowadays that can honestly say we've got our own sound anymore, because they're all sounding very similar. There's some great bands out there. We've heard them. They're great. But personally, I couldn't tell you who they are because they all sound the same.
I think that there are some that stand above the crowd, but I think you're right. I think there are a lot that do fall within that main sort of bracket. There's a dozen or so that I can think of that would stand above it. But
exactly. Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm not dissing on. Yeah, there's.
Oh, no, you're not. No.
But they are all trying to play the game. I think they're all trying to think we need to get on that radio station because we've got to sound like that, or they won't play us. Hey, they don't play us, you know. But
I think exactly those. And if the band, whoever it is, whether it be yourselves or anyone else, if they're playing what's true to them, true to themselves, that always shines through.
What's the music?
Anyone else trying to like you say, we've got to have this guitar sound because that's in vogue at the minute, or whatever it is.
Exactly. Queen didn't do that in the 70s. Queen made a record. They made a song. One of the songs became the single. They didn't do it purely thinking we've got to make this get on Radio 1 so David Hamilton can play us or David Lee Travis. They made a record first and foremost, and that's a piece of art, and that's what we do. We make a record exactly how we want to make Cats in Space sound like, and whatever comes off of that, great. But we don't ever think we need to do something a bit like this, because the minute you contrive yourselves, the fans see through it and they start going elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of the day, fans have to buy into a band. You have to emotionally attach yourself to them. And if you can get that with fans, they'll be with you forever. And bands like Thunder, classic example, they only do what Thunder do. And all the people that love Thunder, take it from me, I know, they really love Thunder.
I'm one of them.
Very fortunate. Yeah, exactly. Well,
the first time I saw you guys was supporting Thunder.
Exactly. And we won a lot of Thunder fans over because I think they saw a likeness in the fact that they're mental, but they're true to themselves. And if we're asking our fans to invest a lot of time and money into our product, you've got to do it from the heart and the right place. Otherwise, they'll leave. They'll leave after one album. And that's the message I would say to any young band or any band out there indeed, and people do ask, questions to us sometimes. I just say, that's it. You've got to do it from there. And if you do it from there, at least you're doing it from the right source, and you can hold your head up and say, well, if you don't like it, fine, but I'm doing this from the right place.
Yeah, I think you see so many music documentaries or interviews where this has happened. Thunder being one, obviously, when they came back with the Wonder Days album, the first album they'd done in quite a while. And I saw interviews with Danny and Luke Morley at the time, and they were saying that we decided that if we were going to come back and do it, we were going to do it properly, or we weren't going to do it at all.
Exactly.
And then they came out with Wonder Days, which was probably the best-selling album at the time for years. And same on the Saxon documentary, I've got Heavy Metal Thunder, on about when the production company or management company, in the 80s were trying to make them sound a bit 80s hair metal-y and gone American route. And it wasn't Saxon. And then, like you say, all the fans went, what are you doing? And went off and found something else. And it was only when the record company kind of gave up on them and they went, okay, well, we've got one record left on this contract. Let's write a record that we want to write and what we want to put out there. And the fans started coming back.
Every time, mate. It's a template for all the great stories. That's the same thing. One last roll of the dice, sod it. Let's just do what we want to do, and that's the one that did it. It happened to Thin Lizzy. It happened to Queen. You name it. UFO, whatever. They all did the same thing. It's true. You've got to do it from the right place, and if you do it from the right place, then people people see that, you know, like I said, you can't fake sincerity, you know.
No,
And
can't.
I think with Cats, I think, you know, the name's daft. What we was doing was daft. As Danny famously said to me, he said, "You're either a genius or you're barking mad." And I'm not quite sure which one it is. I said, "Well, I'm not a genius," but it's true. But the thing was, we stuck because it's like everyone I spoke to say, "Well, whether you love us or hate us, they can tell you song titles. They know our name of our band, and they probably know some of the people in it because it's different and it's coming from the right place, you know." So that's all. We're just a bunch of old boys, just, you know, did it for our own kind of amusement, and I think that's one last roll of the dice, and it's been rolling ever since, you know.
So when did you guys actually form the band?
I can't remember. It's 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
I think me and Mick started writing in 2014.
Okay.
Mr. Heartache, and it was going to be a solo song for him on his second solo album. And then I remember going and doing some bits and bobs on my own after that. And as a band, we've been together 5 years.
Okay.
Since the first album, because we kind of formed in the studio, because it wasn't ever going to be a live band. It was me and my mates doing an album.
Yeah.
And I said, we'll do a couple of videos just to say, hey, look, we've got together and we're doing this.
Yeah.
And then it was Dean that said, oh, we've got to take it on the road. I went, hold on a minute, there's no plans to do that. And like I said, everything just went dip, 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 dip. Before you know it, we were rehearsing and we're doing a gig, and then people liked it. And we did Stone Free Festivals, our third gig, I think. And
Oh, wow.
it all kind of went from there. Yeah. I'm not saying we're lucky, because we've all worked bloody hard, very, very hard for probably 40 years. If we combined our years between us, it would be about 250 probably. So we've done our bit. We've as I hate to say, I hate the phrase paid your dues, but we really have. And we've done it all in the back of the car and been in the van and been around the world and all that kind of stuff. So if we had a little bit of luck and a little lucky break, it wasn't because, you know, we were the in thing. Far from it. We were the weirdos, if anything, you know, and it's just words. And as I keep saying, it all comes back to that. People see that whatever you say about us, it's coming from a genuine place.
I think it's it. Like, I know a lot of mates of mine. I've got sort of friends up and down the country, and like I say, the first time I saw you guys was on that Thunder tour, and I had mates up in Cumbria and some mates in Manchester, and I was going to the gig at Ipswich, it's just up the road, and we're all like, you know, saying, oh well. And my mate, I think the Manchester gig was before Ipswich, because I remember actually texting me. And Ashley, I remember my mate Ashley texted me, and he's like, Lee, don't miss the support act. Because I'll be honest, I'd seen your name and I went, what? Because I hadn't heard you guys. And I went on the name and I went, what's this going to be? You know, I was expecting something very psychedelic-y proggy, to be honest with you. Yeah. And then just from the name, because like I say, I hadn't heard you guys, and my mate Ashley was like, dude, go in early, because I know what you're like for your hard rock. You've got your rock and roll, rock with the roll sort of thing. So go down and watch these. You like them? And I was like, okay. And Ashley's normally right. He knows me pretty well. And yeah, I say went in, and then I was texting my mate who was going to gig a couple of nights later. You need to go in early and watch this.
That's brilliant. But how that works, you know, when we did the Motorpoint Arena on the Thunder tour. That's a big old lump, that is.
Yeah,
and, you know, I knew the numbers, because obviously Danny was saying how many people were going to be there. And I said, yeah, it must be great. We're going to do a massive, great big empty hall while all that lot are out in the bar. He went, don't be surprised if it's nearly full when you go on. I went, and all the video cameras were in that night. We're being filmed. Right. All the cherry pickers were in there and stuff. And it was a huge deal.
Place.
It was a huge deal. I mean, that one gig was a big deal for Thunder and us. And we went, please just let there be half a room in there when we go out, because it'd be such a shame. And when we went out, it was full to the back.
Wow.
And that was about the 5th, 6th day in, maybe. Oh, yeah. And I'm convinced a lot of that was because the word had spread somehow on social media that we were worth checking out. And ever since then, Wales has been a massive stronghold for us. The Welsh absolutely have took to us, and God knows why, because we're just a bunch of noisy Londoners, you know. But that gig that's when we knew that we was doing something really good, because we were storming it. You know, we really were smashing it, and our merch sales were proving it. You know, so you know, and fair play to Thunder, you know, they're not silly. You know,
No.
they take bands out that are going to make their night go well. Not, you know, they don't want rubbish bands. They want good bands that are going to make it a good night and good value for money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just a brilliant time. That was.
I mean, you always hear that thing, don't you? You hear some bands they'll take bands on so that they can shine above them, and then you can get bands that, like you say, like Thunder. And I've seen Thunder countless times, and I've never seen a rubbish support band ever with Thunder.
Trust me, Thunder don't care, mate.
No.
Thunder do not care about another band on this planet because they know when they go out, you're going to have to work hard to get anywhere
Oh,
near.
yeah.
Oh, mate, yeah, they are a force, and you know, watching them every night was like. I mean, Danny especially. I mean, he is just superb. You know, he's a good mate of ours, but when he goes out on stage, he's Danny Bowes. You know, he does
Cool.
Danny show and the dad dancing. And
Oh yeah.
they're brilliant, and they know how to do it. You know, and you know, I wouldn't want to follow them.
No,
I wouldn't want anyone to follow us now. You know, because you know we can give a good run for our money.
God, yeah.
The cat's coming again.
But I hadn't seen Thunder until sort of relatively late on in their career. Just I hadn't caught them for whatever reason, and it was when they were doing their farewell tour in 2008, and I was studying at Norwich UEA, and they were playing there with they had Stone God support, and that band that formed from the Ashes from the Darkness. Yeah, and I really like that album actually. I was really sort of gutted when they didn't continue that.
Dan's superb.
Yeah, I've met him a couple of times. He's a really nice guy.
Nice guy. Yeah, done a show with him once. He's a brilliant guy. I mean, I love the Darkness. It's well known fact.
Yeah, I do. But and they were playing, like I say, Thunder were playing the UEA, and called my dad up because my dad was a big Thunder fan. So, Dad, Thunder were playing. He went, "Oh, brilliant! I'll come up. I was like, "Mate, I've got you your ticket. I'm just letting you know." Brilliant. We'll go. And that was the first time I'd seen them. And I went from liking Thunder to loving Thunder at that gig because on record, they don't get wrong, the albums are brilliant, but live, like any good band, there's something else.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember turning to my dad and saying to me, "Dad, why have we never watched Thunder before?" And he went, No. Why have you never watched Thunder before, mate?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah.
Enough about Thunder. Let's talk about Cats in Space.
Yeah, we don't want Danny getting all the credit, do we?
They don't need the money. We do. No, they're great. I mean, we owe a lot to Thunder because of well, you know, Danny was our manager for a while, and he got us the tour and stuff. He stuck his neck on the block to get us on that tour.
I didn't realise he was managing you for a while.
He managed us for a while, yeah, around that time, for a couple of years. But yeah, he stuck his neck on the block because at the end of the day, a promoter letting the main band decide to have an unknown band as their support that is probably not going to sell them any tickets ain't good business. But they went, this is going to be very good for business, you know, trust me. And he was right. So we owe him a hell of a lot. I mean, I know, you know, there's more to that because I know what the guys personally did in Thunder on that tour for us, and it was a really nice gesture. And you can't underestimate how good they are, you know, for the way that they've never ever had a buy on for any of their support slots. They will not do it.
A lot of that, so that's great that they.
If you get on a Thunder gig, you do not pay to get on it.
That's good.
And that's the mark of proper class, that is.
Oh, it is, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And we would do the same, to be fair. We would follow that suit because I think it's a classy thing to do, you know. Yeah,
I'm with you on that. You always hear these mass buyouts to get on the tour, and you think it's not really on. If you've got that opportunity to come on the road with us, mate, we like what you're doing.
It's a bit crap, really. I mean, I can understand the logistics of why they do it, and I can understand the fact that, you know, if we got the opportunity to play with, I don't know, Bon Jovi or something like that, they know that you're going to suddenly be exposed to so many people. It's going to be a financial windfall for you if you're any good, that is. You know, they want a little nibble up front because they know you're going to get a nibble back, you know. But so I understand that it's business, but it does stick a bit, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So you guys have got the you got the stream show on the 27th of November. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Well, we've literally just finished it. That's why I look like a bag of spanners. We worked very hard for the last 3 days to get it working. It was off at one point because of the COVID thing and the lockdown coming back in, but it turned out that KK's steel mill was COVID friendly, and it's
Oh, that's a great venue.
It's up in Wolverhampton. It's a superb new rock venue.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
KK Downing's kind of endorse it. Massive stage, massive setup, huge lights, pyrotechnics, lights, lasers. Holds 2,200 people when it's full.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be an A-level gig when it really gets itself established.
Mm.
So we was able to go there and shoot 2 days filming, which was a live performance. No jiggery pokery. It's all live.
Yeah.
And then we were editing it down to a format so it can go out live on the 27th of November. There'll be extra footage if you're a VIP ticket, so you'll get to see some extra bits, some acoustic stuff, some interviews, and obviously you'll get the live songs as well. But yeah, it was mega fun because we haven't been together since the Christmas tour last year, and it was Damien's first real blast, on a stage with us playing, and it was absolutely magnificent. I mean, we've done a good one. I can safely say to the people out there, if you thought we was good when you saw us before, you're in for a treat because this is a step up.
Yeah.
It's a huge sound. It's a huge sound. And we've got more flames and pyros than Kiss had.
No, brilliant. I like the thought.
Back screen projection, lasers coming out. We've got all the album artworks flying around. It's
nice.
going to be spectacular. And for 15 quid on a Friday night, you can't argue with that. 27th of November. Get a ticket. It's a big deal to us because if we get enough tickets sold, it will springboard into a part 2. And the part 2 is going to be equally as spectacular. But that won't happen if part 1 doesn't financially recoup. Because
you've heard it, guys. Grab your tickets for it.
You better do. I mean, these are expensive things these bands are doing. I mean, they go, oh, yeah, do this, do a stream. They cost a lot of money. To do a proper stream costs you thousands and thousands of pounds. And for bands to take that risk, especially when they're not earning with what's going on anyway, they're putting their asses on the pot here, and we've firmly put ours on the pot this week. So, yeah, please buy a ticket. It will be well worth it. And also, you can see it for 7 days. So
that's good.
If you can't make the 27th, it's going to be available for 7 days. So, yeah.
I'll be on air on the 27th until about 8 o'clock. So I might have to watch it afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah. It's better than watching Strictly Come Dancing or whatever.
Watching them is better than watching Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah, well, yeah. What is this year? Because there's no blooming audience in there. I'm a bit of a Strictly fan as it happens. I do like a bit of Strictly. I like Craig Revel. What's his name? I think. Yeah, I like him. Yeah, he's more miserable than me. It's brilliant.
Speaking of miserable old buggers, Crusher Jewel was with you, wasn't he?
Yeah, bloody hell. I think he's sober now, bless him.
Is he?
No, Crusher is brilliant. I'll tell you what, I mean, it's a great story because the only reason all of this has happened, and it has caused a hell of a buzz, and the new people that we've met in the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's all down to me messaging Crusher on Facebook saying, you're wearing a pirate T-shirt. We've just brought out a pirate T-shirt for Cats in Space. He went, well, what the hell are you talking about? So I said, I'm going to send you a T-shirt up.
Oh, yeah.
So I sent him a T-shirt up with a promo CD of the album. And I thought, he's going to hate it because he loves Judas Priest and Death or Napalm Death and whatever those bands are, Slipknot, whatever. And I thought, he's not going to like our plinky plonky nonsense. And I sent it up and then he just come back to me and he went mental. He's saying, Greg, I've got to tell you about your record. I should hate it. It should be absolutely rubbish. He said, but I love it. I can't stop playing it. And he's just been pushing us ever since, all over one T-shirt. So obviously when he got me involved with the guys that are doing the stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Crusher. Crusher's done all of this, to be fair. He got me in touch with a few people, this, that, and the other. They're all doing this. They're going to do this. We need to do a show reel. Will Cats in Space come and be a kind of guinea pig, if you like?
Yeah.
And the timing just so happened that we could do it. So it's all down to one T-shirt. Yeah, so, but Crusher's brilliant. Absolutely, he's such a lovely guy.
I'm involved. I'm involved working at like the Stone Dead Festival or Stone Dead Festival.
Yeah.
And Crusher's been doing our MCing of that for like the last couple of years. So I've got to know him over the last couple of years, and I love him a bit. He's a great bloke. But I got to say, it was Crusher who, like, I saw the video. Obviously, I was aware of you guys and listened to your previous works, but it was Crush's enthusiasm for Atlantis when he put the video up, and I went, okay, and I sort of messaged him saying, "Is the album out yet?" Because I obviously thought it was out later this year, which obviously it was. And he said, "Lee, you've got your radio show. Just message Greg. He's lovely." And then that's when I messaged you to see if there's anything I could, do with you guys and maybe sort out an interview that way. And I saw Crush's status this morning saying he just got home and he was just about sober and what a good time he'd had, sort of thing.
Yeah, a great time. Well, at the end of the day, the TV needs Crush because he's one of the last few mavericks, And
oh, he is, yeah.
And he's just brilliant. He's just really good. He does what he does. We had a lot of fun with him, and we've become really, really good friends. And again, it's weird how the music business works. Sometimes you do these things for years, and nothing happens, and all of a sudden, one little thing can trickle to other things. And he's been really cool, and because he's an artist as well, he's a fantastic design artist, and I do a bit of that as well. So we've got like a mutual bond anyway.
Oh, cool.
So that's how we were friends on Facebook, talking about art. I wouldn't even go to music with him because I know that he'd hate what I was doing. But ironically, it's the thing that he likes most. So
he doesn't like. I messaged him this morning and said, that looks like you had a good time last night, Crush, mate, and obviously mentioned that we'd be talking tonight. And he sort of just messaged me back going, "Oh, well done for doing that, Lee." He said, "This album should be fucking huge." And I said, "Well, yeah, it definitely should be." So
let's hope it is, eh? It's selling well so far. The pre-sales are good, and
that's good to know,
all the vinyls have gone. So we're repressing the vinyl as we speak. That's going to come back out in the end of the year. But all the pre-sales have been absolutely amazing, and we're starting to pick up the foreign sales now because we've got a new PR guy out in Germany who's working with us, and we've got our regular guy out doing the other countries out there, and it's starting just a tiny trickles. But bearing in mind nothing's out yet over there still, we're starting to feel a slight little trickle out there. So we're fingers crossed that Germany's going to be good for us because we need to get into Germany. Yeah. We really do. You can't keep doing Britain, obviously, but
no, of course, no. You've got culture.
It's a huge market for us out there. So, it's all good.
Well, Atlantis does seem to be. Don't get me wrong. I'm not slagging off the back catalogue, but it does seem to be a step up in a lot of things. Did you guys feel that when you were recording it, or?
To be fair, I've always said this. I have no problem if people think an older album is better than the new album, whatever. Because if people like different albums, it says that we've got a good catalogue. If everyone says the same album, it tells me that the other albums are probably a bit shit, But so I don't mind, as long as people like the albums. I don't mind whether they got a personal favourite. But Atlantis is definitely it's a hard thing to say step up because it's I don't want to disservice the other albums.
No, I was trying to think of a better term because I didn't want to disservice you.
I mean, everyone loves Scarecrow, Too Many Gods. Some people prefer Narnia because it's got a story to it. But I just think this album is probably the right album for where Cats in Space is now, which is doing the album that people wanted us to do because it's a live thing and it's got more of a rock edge to it, and we're just trying to kind of reproduce more of what we do live, and I think it's brought the best out of us. And for me, as producer, writer of the album, if you like, there is a lot of emotion on this album because a lot of things have happened to the band personally throughout the last 12 months, and that's seeped into the tracks as well. So it's brought out a lot of stuff that might not have come out otherwise. So for that reason, it is a step up, definitely.
Do you think because of those...
It's definitely louder.
You think because of those things that have happened, though, that's fed more into different emotions in this record than Scarecrow or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. We've had some real heavy stuff going on. For me personally and Stevie particularly, and it's life-changing stuff. Without getting all heavy. And it's obviously going to come out in what you do, especially when it happens halfway along. And in Stevie's case, right at the front of it, so it alters your whole mindset on what you're doing. So I think from a point of Atlantis is always going to be something we'll look back on and saying that was a hell of a time in our lives to bring out that album then. And hopefully it will be the one that will always last because of it. Because again, it's coming from there.
Yeah, that's probably why there is so much connection with people because it's gone through that period. And
People will connect with it when they hear it. They will connect with it, and they'll have fun with it, and they'll enjoy the rock side of it. But if they dig deep in there, they'll see there's a lot of stuff in there.
yeah. So I hadn't heard Damien sing before he came into Cats in Space. I wasn't aware. I know he'd done a lot of theatre work, War of the Worlds and stuff. What a voice! Where'd you find him? Was it through War of the Worlds that you found him, or?
I do a 70s show called the Supersonic 70s Show, and he came down to Dep some gigs with us about 5-6 years ago.
All right.
And he rocked up one day. Didn't know he was Janie, a female singer. She got him through some website where people go to look for work. And this guy rocks up from Bristol. Didn't know he was. Comes in. I've never heard a voice like it. I've not heard a singer like it. I thought, he can't be real doing, he was switching from one genre to another with such unbelievable talent. It was scary. So we did a few shows with us and it was like, wow. But and obviously, we've become friends, but I didn't realise that he had any desires to be in a rock band or be an original singer. In fact, I didn't even know he really liked rock music until quite recently, really. He loves The Who and Queen and stuff like that, but he also loves just good vocals. So, he loves a bit of everything, from Elvis right the way through. So, obviously I've heard him sing Queen and ELO and John Miles in our show. And I just thought, wow, if ever someone could replace Paul Manzi, with the range and the showmanship and the theatrical bit, if you like, I thought he's our man. So he came down to sing some backing vocals on the album. Absolutely amazing, smashed them all out. And then with what happened with Mark not working out, it was obvious that I had to offer Damien the job first. Not really expecting him to take it, to be fair. I thought he might say, no, I'm going to stick with the theatre stuff and all that lot. And he went, well, I'm doing nothing else at the minute, and I really would love to be in a proper band and give it a go, kind of thing. Because I went, oh, right. So I didn't think he'd do it. And then he just came down and smashed out the album in 2 days.
He recorded all those vocals in 2 days?
Seasons Change on the album, he did that. That's one take. And that was the first thing he did. He came down to he sang some of the old songs first. Yeah. He did Thunder in the Night and Destination Unknown, 259 and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we put this track up, Seasons Change, because we hadn't really finished it. It was a Scarecrow track. And he smashed that in one go. And we just sat there with our jaws on our knees, just going, what has just happened? And that is the first take, one take, and that is on the Atlantis album. And at that point, I just thought, we've got lightning in a bottle here, and he just smashed the arse out of this album in 2 days.
That's
no word of a lie, he smashed it.
That's a hell of a vocal on that song as well. To do that in one take is...
Mate, I can't tell you how he's the most natural, gifted singer I've ever heard. Wow. And I don't say that lightly. I don't mean it. I'm not trying to sell tickets from a band. I genuinely mean that. He's an astonishing singer and a really, really nice guy. He's just the nicest guy. There's no edge. He's got his own thing going on, and he just comes in and he smashes the arse out of his vocals time and time again. I mean, this show this week, when you see the stream... Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
You listen to him. He is the real deal, mate. He's up there with Adam Lambert.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned, he's up there with Adam Lambert.
Well, I mean, I knew that...
And he's not going anywhere. I've nailed him to the floor. He ain't going anywhere.
Put super glue in his boots.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, it cost me all my money. No, bless him. He's a unique one-off, and I'm just so chuffed that we got him. I really am, because he has made the band go up a level. There's no two ways about it. There's no point pussyfooting around. His vocal has made us the band that we always want to be. That's no diss to Paul or Mark. They're brilliant singers.
Oh yeah.
Damien's theatrical ability is what was really needed for some of the Cat songs, especially on the new album. And he's just amazing. That's not dissing anybody else. It's just a fact.
No, of course not. But like you say, like on that album, you've got stuff. Like I Fell Out of Love and Rock and Roll, which is slightly more kind of David Bowie, Life on Mars. That kind of put me in an image of that. So that kind of thing. And then like stuff like like Revolution or Queen of Neverland, which is more sort of ballsy kind of Thin Lizzy and T-Rex type stuff. And there's the whole album is spans a complete range vocally for him, and there's not a moment where I thought, oh, you're not quite 100% there, mate. And like, no matter what style of vocal he was doing on the record, it just, well, yeah, to use your term, smashed it out of the park.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there was one thing he did, a Spaceship Superstar, which is like a Who type song, you know, and I thought he won't do Roger Daltrey because he's just not that kind of singer.
No.
But he just started singing the song. I went, oh my God, he's like Dennis DeYoung, that sticks. And I absolutely love Dennis DeYoung. Dennis DeYoung and Freddie Mercury are probably the two closest singers that we wanted to sing the Cat stuff. That's the kind of vibe that we always wanted. And then all of a sudden I've got this guy sounding like Dennis DeYoung on this track. I'm like, this is napping, is it? You know, he's just brilliant. And also his voice works with Jeff live, which we only found out this week, of course. Their two voices, they got a very similar kind of timbre to them. And it just sounds like 10 singers going at it. And of course, my voice does all the falsetto stuff on top.
Yeah.
And it's a blooming good noise. Yeah, it's fabulous. There's nothing he can't sing. I mean, I've heard him sing our songs in the style of Elvis. And you would think it's Elvis singing them. He's that good. It's just, he's a force of nature. He really is. It's exciting times for us right now, Cats. It's probably the most exciting time we've ever had because we've got this new record that we think is really good. Yeah. We've got a new line-up and we're itching to get out and do it live because I think we're going to seriously make people sit and take notice.
So have you got any, I know with the year of the way it's been, is there any plans for live dates in the next sort of...
Yep. In fact, today I just confirmed something that's going to happen next year that is going to be really good. Fingers crossed. We've got a couple of festivals,
cool.
2 headline festivals now next year, which
sweet.
is amazing to get 2 headline festivals in one year. And we've got dates coming in as well. So we're kind of cautiously saying, we're booking from kind of autumn onwards, but we have got stuff in the front half of the year. If it can happen, it will happen. And, we'll do what we've got to do. Hopefully get out into Europe and go further afield than that if we can. And just start taking Atlantis all around the world. That's the goal.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll be keeping an eye out for dates, mate, because I'm loving, I've said to you, before we got into this interview, that album has not left my car stereo since I got it, and it's been constantly spinning. And like me and Crusher were talking, the first initial listen was like, wow, this is great. And then the more I'm listening to it and uncovering things that were not on face value as such, like we mentioned earlier, the more I'm loving the record. So I'm definitely wanting to see these songs live and see you guys live again.
Live, it rocks, mate. There's going to be a couple of the new songs on the live stream. We're doing, definitely 2. I can't remember what we're doing now. It's only yesterday. We're doing a Fell Out of Love with Rock and Roll and Revolution, and they'll rip your face off. In fact, the guy there was saying, I don't know why he said it, but he said, I actually preferred your live version of Fell Out of Love and Rock and Roll than the album version. He said, it just rocks. I'm like, oh, well, there you go. We're doing something right. So, it's going to be good. The songs are made to play live as well because they come from a live kind of feel. So it's, we're rocking out big time on them.
All right, man. Well, we mentioned, obviously, I Fell Out of Love and Rock and Roll and Revolution. Are there any other songs in particular on the album that you're looking forward to hearing people's responses to?
Spaceship Superstar, that's my favourite.
Yeah,
I love that song. I really love that. That came out really, really great. I love that came out. Atlantis.
Yeah.
I really like a song called Magic Loving Feeling, which is the one with the Peter Frampton talkbox.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really cool. So people have been saying that's very Boston-esque. We've got a couple of German reviews coming out, and they're just mentioning Boston all over the place. So that's not a bad thing to have. I'll take that all day long. All of them really, because every track has got its own merits. Marionettes is the epic, which is being called like our Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a bit crazy, but that's a huge, huge song that took a long time to do. That was more difficult than Greatest Story Never Told to do. I'm just chuffed with every track. Seriously, I'm not just saying that. Every track has come out bullseye, and it's because we wouldn't allow it not to go into the bullseye.
Yeah.
So we've put a lot of time. It's our most expensive album we've ever done by a margin. And it's hopefully people will see that when they get hold of their copies. You know. So no, we're chuffed. We're chuffed. But we're going to be doing Queen of Neverland. We're doing live.
I love that song. I was sitting down with my bass the other day trying to work out that bass line.
Yeah, so's Jeff. Sorry, mate. No, it's a very hard song to do live because we were doing it obviously this week, and it's hard to dig in and get that groove right. 'Cause in the studio, it's really so exact, and live it's hard to reproduce. But sod it, give it a go. You know, it'll work. It'll work.
Right. Well, Greg, it's been an absolute pleasure, buddy. What song do you want us to air out on this interview with?
One of mine.
Yeah, one of yours. Which one, mate?
What, off the new album?
Off any album.
Yeah, because we can't. When's this going out? What date?
I'm going to do this on the date of the launch of the album, 27th.
Oh, right. So you can play anything off the new, because we're not allowing people to play the album tracks until the week of that. That's a good question. What's live going out then? Well, if we're not limited for time, hit 'em with Spaceship Superstar and turn the bloody thing up.
Do it then. We'll do that. After all, it's going to be your album launch show, so.
It is, mate. It's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big day for rock. That's what it's going to be.
Definitely.
Big day for rock and roll. The day that the real rock music comes back, you know.
Definitely, man. All right, well, we'll air out on that then, buddy. Thanks.
Take care, matey. Yeah.
You too, man. Thanks for your time, man.
Cheers, Lee.